I think that was the first time my mom realized that I was a loser. Needless to say, I got my curfew extension. Parents of Reddit, what lessons have you tried to teach your kids that completely backfired? I taught them to stand up for what they believe in. All of a sudden they believed veggies were the devil and bedtime should be abolished. Me, we need to talk about you and your girlfriend. Look, when you are ready to have s. Son, Dad. Me, wait, listen to me. Son, it's too late. Me. Saw a clip on local news about a toddler saving her mom's life by calling 911 when she collapsed. Figured it was a good idea to teach my toddler 911. Had 2 cops at my door 5 minutes later. One of my 5-year-old twins was still having occasional accidents because she would get so caught up in playing, doing something else, that she just wouldn't go and would pee her pants. To combat this, we would give her a special prize of some variety when she wouldn't have an accident. This, in turn, caused her twin sister to start having accidents so she could get prizes for not having accidents, even though she was fine on this front beforehand. We had to rethink our methods. Read a book that suggested you ask your kid what an appropriate punishment for misbehaving would be and then carry it out. 6-year-old son pinched his brother or something, so we asked what an appropriate punishment would be. He said, pluck out my eyeballs and throw me over a cliff. We didn't follow through, and stopped reading parenting books. My kids were begging for a pet. I don't want to take care of a pet, and I told them that they don't clean up after themselves without me harassing them, so why would they clean up after a pet without me harassing them? Told them if they could keep their room clean for 6 months without me telling them, they could get a pet. Youngest child proceeds to clean the room, then moves clothes and a sleeping bag into the hallway, and locks his door so his room can't get dirty as he sleeps in the hallway. Taught my now 16-year-old to always compliment people who insulted you. We were in a Burlington coat factory in Michigan when my mother was shopping for a bathing suit to take to Florida. There were few to choose from, so she was complaining. My kid was 4. A woman trying on pants, and said something rude to my mom who was asking my opinion, and my daughter caught on that my mother was agitated. She squeezed out behind me and told the woman, "Your teeth are such a pretty yellow." My parents taught me to call 911 when I saw somebody doing something illegal. I called the cops on the Wiggles movie I was watching when I was 5, because a clown stole a cake. Luckily the 911 operator realized I was young, my story didn't make sense because it was a kids movie, and asked to talk to my mom before sending out cops. When I was 11 I once called the FBI because I felt I had information on a serial killer. I didn't, I just thought I did. When the FBI answered I got spooked and hung up. The FBI called back, "Keep in mind it's 2 a.m. in the morning," and my mom answered the phone, "Hello, this Special Agent Kim with the FBI, and I believe your son just called us." That's not a call you want from the FBI at 2 a.m. about your 11 years old son who last you saw was in his room going to sleep several hours ago. I sat in my room waiting for my parents to call for me. They did. They were not pleased that I had called the FBI without speaking to them first. My dad tried to implement the whole "you must eat all the food on your plate" in our house during meals. My mom was never a fan of that lesson, but my dad was stubborn, so she just let it go. Well, one day my sibling had 2 to 3 bites of food left on the plate, and was very clear that they were absolutely full and couldn't eat another bite. Dad wasn't having it and insisted they could not leave the table until all the food on the plate was gone. My sibling realized they weren't going to convince our dad that they were too full, and finished the last few bites. They then proceeded to vomit on the table and our dad. He stopped enforcing the rule after that. Not a parent, but as a child I noticed my sister was writing her name on the walls when she was drawing on them with crayon. Taking on the role of helpful big sister, I informed her if she was going to graffiti things she shouldn't write her name, and give herself away. A few weeks later, she was carving patterns into the wooden desk in the study and carved my name into it instead. When my son was about 3 or 4 he started to ask about how babies are born. I sat him down and gave him a very simple, age-appropriate explanation. He just looked at me, shook his head and just said, "No." Very calmly but in a "I can't believe you think that's how it works" tone of voice, like I told him fake news. I was prepared for difficult questions and even prepared for the fact that he might ask me things that even I didn't know, but I was completely unprepared for him to just simply not believe me when I told him the truth. I just sat there not knowing what to do while he went back to playing Lego. When I was about 2 years old, my family was at a game in Angels Stadium. My mother went to the restroom and left me and my siblings with my dad. While he was busy watching, I wandered off. When they eventually found me, I was halfway around the stadium. A crowd had gathered to watch as a police officer held me out at arm's length while I screamed, "Call the police, this man is not my daddy," over and over again. My parents had taught me stranger danger, but forgot to teach me what police look like. Not a parent, but I remember when I was 17, my parents thought I was lying about where I was when I was going out. Like I wanted to extend my curfew or something. Backstory: I am from a really small town, with really not a whole lot for teenagers to do. So my friends and I liked to hang out at the Waffle House by this bar. Every Friday, Saturday night, it never failed, like 3 or 4 drunk people would get arrested and my friends and I liked to watch. It was 10 out of 10 entertainment. So one night, it was going down one night at this particular Waffle House. So I called my parents and asked them if I could extend my curfew. I told them why and they didn't believe me, so they called the Waffle House where I was and asked for me. When the waitress, who knew me well, because I was there a lot, handed me the phone, my mom was like, "Oh, you really are at the Waffle House?" I think that was the first time my mom realized that I was a loser. Needless to say, I got my curfew extension. Not a parent, but I work in a school. At my school we have a lot of kids with learning disabilities, more than in your average school, as we have a special program for it and get special funding. So one of the first lessons of the school year is everybody needs different things to learn, and if somebody is getting something different from you, it's because that's what they need to learn at school. You know, a kid-friendly way of explaining accommodations. Now, the usual accommodations we offer are special chairs, wiggle seats, extra breaks during the day, and extended testing time and tests taken in a quiet room. One kid, however, has decided to take the "everyone learns differently" lesson to heart and now talks in a fake British accent, "I live in America by the way," all day. Because it helps him learn. Then all of the other kids started talking in fake accents. When my oldest kid was 3 or 4, a few months after I separated from his mom, I found a home with a couple of these DJs who needed a roommate to split the bills. Mike was terminally ill, Louis was a pothead. I was a young divorced dad. Pretty suave home, am I right? One day after cleaning the kitchen I stepped out to pick up my kid, came home and the kitchen's a wreck. Louis got high and decided to make himself a smoothie. He left milk, ice, bits of juice and just gross crud everywhere. I told Louis he needed to clean it up, he told me he'd get to it in a little bit, I told him I needed to make my kid dinner now, and needed to work in the kitchen, he told me, so clean it up yourself. One thing led to another and pretty soon we're in each other's faces, really close, almost bumping chests, fingers pointing at each other, yelling really loud, lots of cuss words, before we both storm off. I go up to my room, and kiddo's up there with a quivering lip and eyes welled up. He bravely tells me, "Louis is our friend and you yelled at him very mean." Damn it. I go back to the living room. "Louis, could you come down here please?" "What?" He stomps into the living room. Sigh. I was very frustrated because I worked hard to clean the kitchen. Then I saw it messy again, but I did not ask what you were doing or how your day was before getting mad about the kitchen. I should not have yelled at you or said bad words. You're my friend and I will try to use nicer words from now on. Louis looks at me and says, "WTF?" Then he turns and sees kiddo watching both of us. Oh god damn it. Fine. And he cleaned the kitchen. My kid asked us to hug each other afterward. Louis and I are still friends. He's got his own baby now. Calm as a bitch, Louis.
Like and subscribe for more funny, interesting, and scary r/ask Reddit videos.